Hello, my name is Glenn Dyer, and you are watching a Dyer-Situation. Today I'm seeing The Mummy. The Mummy reboot. Another reboot. Okay. This one's starring Tom Hanks. Oh, no, Tom Cruise. Sorry. They're both very similar people, I'm sure. I mean, they both have Tom in their name. They must be identical, but, Tom Cruise, another action-packed mummy movie, and this one part of the Dark Universe, as they put it, which is apparently also connected to Dracula Unbound or whatever, a movie everybody hates, so, I don't know, we'll get into that a little later. So, do I actually want another mummy movie? As we all know, I don't like reboots. I don't like remakes. I like originality. And sadly, most original films I'm forced to call pieces of shit, because they tend to be pieces of shit, because nobody puts much effort into them. But, you know what, in the case of The Mummy, I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea. I mean, the last great incarnation of The Mummy was the Brendan Fraser movies, which were like maybe 20 years ago now, and they were great. They were great in their own right. The first two, at least, you know, great action films, a lot of memorable moments, pretty dark too, from what I can remember. I remember like people's faces being eaten off and stuff, and also some pretty silly moments, like the mummy being scared by a cat and stuff. You know, it's great. It's great. Like very memorable movies. But you know, you can't keep making those. Everyone in those movies is way too old. Nobody liked Tomb of the Dragon Empire. You know, you can't keep doing it. And besides, the mummy, like, as the idea of a killer mummy, is way older than that. It's a Universal Pictures staple, you know. So honestly, just the concept of a reboot itself, of just another movie with a mummy in it, isn't that bad an idea, in my opinion. Especially since this isn't, like, exactly like the original. I mean, sure, it has Tom Cruise, so you think maybe it's just going to go with that action horror kind of thing, like the Brendan Fraser ones. But this one's set in modern day. I'm not sure how much that changes things, and you see, that's kind of where the iffy point comes into. You have to, if you're gonna redefine something, you have to really redefine it, and I'm worried that instead they're just gonna take some of the elements from the Brendan Fraser movies and then make them more dark, by which they mean they literally darken the picture, and they also, like, remove any kind of humor from it. Which is gonna be interesting, because as I mentioned, the Brendan Fraser movies have a lot of dark moments in there. So it would be kind of ironic if they tried to make this one darker and it ended up just more mediocre than the Brendan Fraser movies. We'll have to see on that one. But, yeah, you know, nobody's scared of mummies. Let me just put that out there. Like, how long has it been since people were scared of, like, vampires or werewolves or stuff, especially since Twilight? It's been a while. But, like, mummies? Even among, like, horror fans, mummies have been a joke for, like, 50 years. You know, just, it basically just a dude wrapped in bandages who moves really slowly and can't do much. And the Brendan Fraser movies, they kind of revamped that with Emotep and how he has, like, magic powers and stuff, and he's not wrapped in bandages the whole time. And, you know, he's a corpse under there. That's the scary part. He's a fucking corpse. And, you know, they added some new stuff with this. So my guess is they'll try to do that again. They'll try and revamp the Mummy again for today. I'm not seeing too much of that, though. I mean, the new design of the Mummy, all I've seen so far, with the trailer stuff being rammed down my throat every time I watch YouTube, is the double pupil thing, which is kind of a cool effect, but I have absolutely no idea what that's supposed to mean. Is that scary? Is that cool? I don't know. They're gonna have to do a little more than just double pupils in order to define this mummy as you know, like an awesome force, especially if they're trying to set up some sort of combined monster universe, you know? You need to have that character there for one thing. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, Imhotep had a great design and stuff in the Brendan Fraser movies, but character-wise, not so much. But with it doesn't matter that much because Brendan Fraser picked up the slack there, and so the other ensemble cast members they brought up all the character levels. But with this, they're trying to make a combined universe. And unless they want a combined universe of regular humans, they're gonna have to really put some unique characteristics onto their bad guys here. So I hope they put some effort into that aspect of it. And what else? Yeah, I just hope that they, even though they're rebooting it, that they try to do something different, that they really go full force into this universe thing. They don't fuck it up like Batman v Superman, and yeah, I'll tell you how they did. I feel like I'm in some sort of prank. You know, like somebody say, "Hey, you want to go see this Mummy movie?" And I'll be like, "Sure." And they're like, "Okay, it's opening up this universe thing with all the Universal monsters, and they're gonna be in this one big thingy together." I'm like, "Okay, that sounds kind of cool." And then when I'm not looking, they just piece together a bunch of random shit into this cobbled up mess and throw it at me, and are like, "Look at this great thing," and I say, "What? None of this makes sense. What are you doing?" That was my reaction most of the movie. I would like to say like 60% of the movie, my jaw was hanging open like this, with this look on my face, just in confusion and shock and bewilderment at the incompetence on screen. The only way I can even slightly compare this is, it's almost like they saw the style of Suicide Squad, not the colorful advertising, not the music being used every 5 minutes or anything, but just how it presents itself, how it expands its universe, how it delivers exposition, and decided that that was the aspect that they really wanted to take out of that and put into their own movie. Because just like Suicide Squad, almost every single plot point is revealed twice. Almost every single one. Sometimes entire lines are spoken again 10 minutes later. Like somebody said, like the narrator, I think it was, he said, like, everything that was buried from the past will eventually be revealed, or something like that. And then 10 minutes later, a character says, well, everything that's been buried in the past will eventually be revealed. What? It happens multiple times. The explanation for the mummy, they revealed the entire backstory of this mummy before the whole thing even started. And then they reveal it piece by piece later on. What's wrong with you? We already know it. There's no need for this. They have entire conversations just going over what we already know. To the point where this movie's an hour and 50 minutes, but it feels like 5 hours. It's... You know what I was expecting? I overestimated the movie, man. I was expecting this. They make a mummy movie, right? A movie about the mummy. Okay? The lady they got, she's a mummy, and Tom Cruise has to stop her, right? Otherwise she'll do something bad. But because it's an extended universe, she's going to live at the end, you know, maybe incapacitated, but she'll live. And then but other than that, you know, it's gonna be mostly self-contained, and maybe have a few references to other movies, you know, and say something like, oh yeah, I've been hearing about this Wolfman somewhere, you know, just some random character in the background, you know, just subtle little things, getting things going before, you know, going all out with some sort of big corroboration, you know. Nope. That is expecting too much, apparently. Just something like that. I don't even think that sounds like a great idea. That just sounds like the most basic way you could get this across without being crap. But no. What instead they settle for is a mummy who is so stupid that you can't possibly be intimidated by her. She's incredibly stupid. Some characters that don't have much depth to them. Tom Hanks and his friend, his really annoying friend, and his love interest who has no character. Introduce them to us, but we don't have much time for that because spoilers. The whole mummy thing is condensed into the first half of the movie, and the second half is we have this group that investigates monsters, and so we're doing a whole thing with that, and maybe some mummy stuff will come in later on, and we'll quickly dispatch with that later. I'm not even joking you, that's how they structured it. First half is actual mummy stuff dedicated just to the mummy, the rest is universe establishing. It's so clumsy, so poorly designed, I can't believe anybody actually signed off on that. Was there a single competent screenwriter who said, excuse me, this is not how you structure a plot. People are going to be confused, and they're going to be utterly bewildered by the choices here. It's mind-blowing, honestly. Should I get into specifics? Here's why the mummy's extremely stupid. I mean, the whole idea behind this mummy here, it's a simple idea. This young lady lusts for power, so she makes a deal with the devil, who's like sect or whatever. I don't think sect's actually evil in Egyptian mythology, but whatever. She makes a deal with him to get power, right? And then she becomes a mummy with supernatural abilities and is dug up several thousand years later, right? Basic idea. So how do you get her to do that? Well, she is the only she's the only child of the pharaoh, right? And she's going to get the crown. She's going to be the pharaoh of the whole country. But then the pharaoh has a son. Some disastrous things here. So she's not going to be the new pharaoh anymore. So what do, right? Well, any normal person would just say, you know, if you're evil enough, and if you're really that evil, and you really want to get that power, well, I would covertly make a deal with someone to go and kill the baby and kill my father. Makes sense. Oh sure, it's dark, sure, but like, I think making a deal with the actual devil is going a little too far. Especially since, believe it or not, she doesn't even use demonic powers to kill him. She just slits their throats with an ordinary knife. And then it comes up with some stupid shit like she wants revenge on all of the world now for some reason. They don't know what they're doing at all. Everyone's motivations are so screwed up, but the mummy's in particular. What the hell is her purpose here? She wants to bring Sect into the real world for some reason, but why? What possible purpose could that serve to you? I mean, I do not think the original Mummy, or not the original, the Brendan Fraser Mummy movies are exactly masterpieces, but Jesus Christ, they had simple plots. I mean, Imhotep wants to kill all the people who took his organs, so he goes after them one by one and takes their organs. And then because he's really evil, he wants to take over the world. Just because that's something he's always wanted. Simple. Not exactly Shakespeare, but we get it. We get a series of events from that. We get a plot line from that. But this... It's so dumb. It's so dumb. Instead she has this really complicated plan of, like, where she makes, Tom Cruise immortal, and, then tries to kill him multiple times for some reason, but, she also wants him to become the vessel just because he was there in the chamber. Oh my god, I forgot about the opening, where they discover this mummy tomb in Iraq, and the lady goes down there and she brings over the two known thieves to help her, and then she gets annoyed when they start stealing shit like they're supposed to. And oh my god, there was a point where Tom Cruise's friend turns into like a mummy zombie, and he's forced to shoot him. And he shoots him twice, because that's what it took to bring him down, and then he shoots him again. It's meant to be like a comedic moment. Like, you know, I know they feel they gotta insert comedy because people complain that the DC movies have no humor. But, you know, there's a difference between being funny and having absolutely no soul. Like, just shooting your best friend again. And I could go on for 2 hours, I'm not even joking, I could go on for longer than the movie's length, talking about every single thing that is wrong, every single nitpicky element in this that is so wrong. So disastrously wrong. This is what you meant to start off your universe. Oh my god. I am longing for the subtlety of that series of video files that Wonder Woman was looking at in Batman v Superman. Like, honestly, in terms of making a universe, that was better. Was better than this. In short, please don't watch this movie. It's not very funny. It's not... There's not good action. Special effects are misplaced at best. There was, like, his friend who turns into, like, a mummy zombie. He has a CGI kind of thing going on in his face. Like, I think they just had filmed him regularly and somebody matted something onto his face afterwards. But it's completely unnecessary. I mean, his face is just gray with some, like, flakes of skin everywhere and one whited out eye. Could have easily been done in makeup and would have looked a lot better. Tom Cruise is... You know, normally I think he's just a fine actor. He's great at playing Tom Cruise, you know. He doesn't have much range, but, you know, he's fine. But in this movie... He's just terrible. He is the most unlikable person in this. He is such an ass. I think they were going for an anti-hero or something, but no, he is just... He's kind of an inhuman monster. Even before he becomes a literal inhuman monster. I don't want to see another one of these. I don't want to see a Wolfman movie where we get 15 minutes of half-assed Wolfman before going into some weird Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde shit like they did in this. I don't ever want to see any more of this. Which is such a shame, because Universal technically made the very first crossover expanded universe movie with, I think it was Dracula Meets the Wolfman, something like that. Yeah. And then, 100 years later, they make this. Oh. Jesus Christ. I'm just gonna use this one bit of advice for you. Cancel this Dark Universe shit, okay? Just cancel it, get rid of it, give up, and then make one, and I do mean one, good monster movie. And then see if you might want to make an expanded universe from that. That's all it takes. What Marvel did, they made Iron Man. Made Iron Man, everybody loved it. They worked from there. That's how you do it. It's no big secret. Hell, even DC. DC, with one of the most fucked up expanded universes out there. They had some bit of sense to actually make one slightly well-received, at least money-making movie of Man of Steel. At least there. You know, they had some sort of reason to make a sequel. They blew it out of proportion by just making Semi-Justice League their second movie, but at least it wasn't their first. This shouldn't be complicated, but you need to make one movie that people like before you can make a franchise. You can't just do it right out of the gate. God damn it. I shouldn't be explaining this. Same goes for you, whoever the hell greenlit King Arthur. This movie reminds me a lot of King Arthur, although this is even worse than that, honestly. At least that movie had, like, focus. You know, it didn't halfway go to some story of Lancelot and oh god. So many things wrong with this movie. So many things. This is... Eh. There's no more to talk about. It's just awful. It is just awful. Probably one of the worst movies I've seen all year. I can't think of much else that's worse than this. This is bottom of the barrel. And until next time, I'm Glenn Dyer, and you have been watching a Dyer-Situation.